Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome again to another class in this program of ours, Diploma in Hijama Coping Therapy. Last class, we were starting the nervous system while we were looking at an introduction to body anatomy. We were trying to explain how the body functions to get a better understanding of when there is a dysfunction, where there's a problem, to understand what could cause it and why it could be so, and how the body works at one unit to treat every ailment as it affects the whole body and not just as a unit ailment. A unit ailment here, what I'm trying to say is it's a cold, it's affecting the nose. There's a lot of catarrh coming out of the nose, but sooner or later it'll affect the lungs. It gives headache. It gives one funny feeling of, I just don't even know how to explain it, how to describe that feeling, but you just don't feel like doing anything. You lose taste. It affects the whole body, but it's started from the nose. So whatever it is, it's a boil. The boil brings a fever, it brings heat, it brings pain, it brings discomfort, it brings headache. It affects the whole body. Could even affect your appetite and so. But the idea is we understand that the whole body works as one. Now we started with we finished the vital organs, the non-vital organs, the nervous system. We're talking about the brain being the central computer that takes care of every function of the body. Everything goes in through the brain, goes out through the brain. Where there's a problem there in communication, problems come up, from Alzheimer's to Parkinson's to paralysis to loose, how will I put it, uncontrolled bowel movements, and so many things. It's a whole lot depending where there's a problem. So you have parts of the nervous system that is sympathetic and the parasympathetic. And so we actually were here in the last class. We're talking about the stomach, how it signals the brain that it's starting to process food, and how it signals when it's hungry. The person eats, how digestion goes on. And this nervous system integrates virtually every part of the body, like we've said. The nerve fibers in the hand tell the brain a lot of things. Like we said, when you eat with your hand, it informs the brain, it prepares the stomach, prepares digestion, and like that. The skin is sensitive to a lot of things. You find out when you are hot and when you're cold. If you look at your skin, you see the pores are in different stages. In one stage it is open, and in the other it's very close and tight. All these actions controlled come from the brain, just like your computer in your car or in your house automated system. The brain is that mainframe, and it controls both the internet and the intranet of the body. So, having said that, there are other systems in the body that are localized but operate under the nervous system. They operate under the brain's power. And in some cases, when they are in swing, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they still maintain reasonable functions. So you could find a woman who's pregnant, have a good delivery, but she has one issue or the other in the brain. But you would understand that that issue does not have to do fully with that reproductive or controls to the reproductive tract, but it has reduced body functions. Even if it was a stroke, we find cases like that have come up and like that. But we'll look at a lot of these when we go into treatment. It's just that the talk comes up when you look at the system and trying to introduce it to make people understand how it works. Of course, this reproductive system is one thing we've all been, so to speak, introduced to from maybe secondary school science. You start about the body organs. Yes, there's pleasure that is derived from it, experience as well. In females, reproductive systems support growth of a fetus because the woman can get pregnant, the man cannot. We all know that. And it works with other systems of the body too. The same way we're talking, once a woman is pregnant, the heart works a bit more, the lungs a bit more, the stomach gets squeezed. It doesn't do, every part of the body works. And of course, the brain now tries to regulate in that homeostasis type of balance or yin-yang balance we talked about, hot-cold balance. It tries to regulate and make sure that not just the temperature, the right amount of food, the right amount of blood, right nutrients go in and out of the womb. The reproductive organs, we all know the organs for the man. It's not for you, yes, it's good to know them, but some parts would come into some of the treatments you're doing because issues will come out from that. For the woman too, you have the various parts of reproductive organs, which knowing them, you can say what hormonal imbalance was there and what you need to do and how you need to treat the person. The skin in allopathic medicine is seen as the largest organ, but in traditional African medicine, it is not seen as an organ. It's seen like an appendage to an organ. And in most other traditional medicines too. But in allopathic medicine, they see it as that. It has its own layers, fats, it has hair, it has the skin itself of various types, the skin texture, and the skin properties to some extent change. Even on each individual's body, the skin in the front is slightly different from the skin behind. The skin in the lower limbs kind of are different. When you look at the skin around your feet, sole of your feet, it's different from the one on your hands and your palms. These are all special designs by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Each one has its purpose and its work. We would look at some of these when we are a bit in this part of anatomy and a bit when we're looking at treatments and diagnosis. In Unani medicine, it will be the asbab because there are various reasons or asbabs why each organ is there. It has its use and its purpose. Different to some extent from the understanding of allopathic medicine. But here we're looking at it because it's general and this is what we'll confront more often. We're not students of traditional African medicine here in this class or traditional Chinese medicine here or Yunnan medicine, but we're trying to bring it, the understanding, so at least we do have a very good background as to how the body works from the various medicines, and we put it together, and from a midpoint, we would be able to operate much better. So the skin helps regulate body temperature. You find this out when you get into a hot place, you start sweating. The idea is air cools the body because of the sweat, and you get vitamin D from there. Your skin is a filter to protect you from a lot of pathogens that could invade and come into. You sense and feel from it. It tells that there's life in various parts of your body. One of the tests that you'll be doing to check your patients who might have stroke would be to use a pen or a slightly sharp or pointed object at the sole of their feet and various parts to see if they feel pain or sensation. It tells you a lot about what treatments you can do. Of course, the skin has the epidermis, which is the outer layer of the skin. It contains three types of cells. Squamous cells are the outer skin layer of the skin, which the body constantly sheds. You find that some people get very dry skin, and you actually notice, and some people never ever get to notice that they're shedding it, but they do. You have the basal cells, which is the next one located under that squamous cells, and melanocytes, which produce melanin. This is where the skin pigments come in. We have different color of skins and this is what people try to bleach or cause change to when they want to change the color of their skin, either to make themselves darker or to make themselves lighter and cool. And tampering with all this by use of chemicals destroys the skin. In some patients, it might be their cause for skin cancer. And in some, it might be the reason why when they have a sore or a cut, it's very hard to heal. They're not diabetic, so that any other thing has been ruled out. It's just that the skin has been weakened by use of toning creams and things like that. The dermis is the middle layer of the skin. It's located under the epidermis, contains blood vessels, lymph vessels, hair follicles, sweat glands, nerves, subcutaneous glands, and fibroblasts. Collagen is found. This is what kind of holds this collagen protein. But you see, this particular point is of great concern to us, because when we put our hijama cups on the skin, this is the part that we're really triggering. This is the part that we are pulling out from. It is from here we try to do some reset on the lymphatic system to clean out the lymph flow system to make it flow better. It is from here we try to get out toxins. Some of these toxins actually come out from the sweat glands. Some from the sebaceous glands, some from the lymph vessels and blood vessels. And that's why you find out you don't want to make deep cuts in your patient. You just want to make very small insertions that without the suction put back, you might not get any blood come out. These nerves that are there are what you kind of work on. We'll look at the mechanism sometime in future as we're going on. When you are treating pain, you kind of comfort the nerve endings, so to speak. So the pain is reduced in that area of the body. Muscles are straightened. So you find somebody who was slouching, coming in after a good hijama session, would stand straight. The muscles have been energized, so to speak, to take back form and give the guy a better posture. Now, the subcutaneous fat layer is also there. This is the deepest layer of the skin. Helps the body helps keep the body warm, and it also acts as a proof or cushion to some extent. When it's written like this, absorbing heavy blows, you think It would take very much, but within reasonable limits, yes, especially where you train your body and do your exercises. This is also where those love handles develop on the stomach and like that, where you don't exercise and your tummy starts growing and you start having bulges and co. And it's one of the, mostly when it's around the tummy, it's one of the hardest to reverse, to drop that tummy by exercise. You have the muscular system. The muscular system, the muscles actually control movement. The skeleton is there, but to move the leg up and down, you need these muscles to either contract or expand, flexion, as they would say, and abduction, and there are words for all these movements. You have the skeletal muscles. These are voluntary muscles, which means a person can decide when to move them. Your quadriceps, your hamstrings, and all these muscles, your triceps, biceps, move your hands, your legs. But you see, like the cardiac muscles, these are involuntary muscles. They help the heart pump blood. They have an express line with a do not disturb, do not touch kind of thing directly to the brain. The heart actually starts working from, I believe it's the 40th day of conception, when life is blown into the fetus. From that moment, the heart starts pumping until the point of death. So the heart could work on a person for 100, 120 years, as long as the person goes. From Sira and history that we have, where you have people living for 150, 200, 400 years, 500 years, that heart was working throughout that period without a pacemaker, without any support. These are the wonders and miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which brings us to ask every blessed day that verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to us, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Which of the favors of your Lord would you deny or would you look at? It's all, there is no part of the body that is not a marvel in itself. We're not talking of the whole now, just each bit. There is no part of it that is not a marvel on its own. So you have the smooth muscles. These are also involuntary muscles. They line the bladder, the intestine, the stomach. Now for the bladder, yes, some of the muscles around the bladder, one or two you can squeeze when you want to hold urine, and around the anal area when you want to hold a fart or control stomach flow when you have a diarrhea. But the rest work on their own. They're on autopilot from the brain. And when there's a problem there, you find out that every other thing has a problem. You know, Alhamdulillah, with some other techniques now, you can try to bring the brain back to work. You can try to make other parts of the brain take over to some extent the functions of some other parts. Work in progress, research in progress, but Alhamdulillah, we're getting there. It's better than what it was before. Another system the body has is the endocrine system. It's a system of glands throughout the body. These glands release chemicals called hormones, which help regulate the function of virtually every organ. Now, you see, these are terms you would come to when we look at this from the Unani or the African traditional medicine or the traditional Chinese point of view. The terms slightly vary. They didn't call them that in those days. They had other names for them and described them as humors or things that help the body function. Now we know, and it's important to understand how the body works with your own type of treatment and how it works with these names, how you can translate this to mean that. So you find sometimes this issue of fertility and other things keeps coming up in examples sometimes. Yes, progesterone comes in to help regulate menstrual cycles, and it plays an important role in sustaining pregnancy. So when it's not there, the traditional medicine person or by your treatment in Hijama, you're not looking for that hormone. You're looking at the whole system. What could be wrong to bring balance to it? So your system works, your treatment works better than somebody who's given supplements to just give the person progesterone, because you're working on the body to regulate itself. And whatever herbs you give is to help the body in whole to do its work. Like I tried to explain, when you take whole herb treatment, it's like sending a whole workforce into an environment to go in to do some renovation work on a building or on whatever project. You have a painter, you have a bricklayer, you have a motor mechanic, a motorbike mechanic, you have an office secretary, you have different types of printers, laser, DexJet, you have a typist, you have a lawyer, you have a doctor, you have police, you have the military, you have judges, you have everything you need. It doesn't mean all of them are going to do the job, but it just means that when you're doing the building renovation and there's a need for a building code to be paid for, you have an accountant or somebody, a treasurer, or somebody with money there to pay. If there's a letter to be written, you have the people who can write the letter. If there's somebody who needs to do plumbing work, you have it. If you have somebody so those that don't need to do anything, just hang around and are flushed out. It's the same thing with our food and the medications you take for herbal preparation. Your body takes it and it takes everything it needs. That which it doesn't need goes out. It's an organic input into an organic body. So there's no, it's not like when you take synthetic medicines where you're looking for points of absorption and points of discharge or excretion, how it comes into the body and how it goes out to the body. This is all just like your food. So these are things that we need to pay attention to. This system includes major glands. It has major glands, the thyroid, pituitary glands, pineal glands, the ovaries, the adrenal glands. Oh, sorry, yeah, typographical error. The thyroid was repeated twice. You know, these reproductive organs have some glands on them, the ovaries, the testis, like that. And these all together help in keeping the body all right. These hormones that we're talking about help bring the body to par. It's the signal system of the body. It's that part of the body that thing that sends information as the blood pumps. One hormone goes, it's like a messenger of sort. It gives the information that this is what we need to be done here. So mind sends message gets to brain sends hormones or electrical pulse signals, whichever it sees necessary, to that part of body. And sometimes it could be embarrassing. You find you're in a situation where gunshots are fired The brain sends message, take cover, find a place to hide. But the stomach decides, look, I want to go. I want to go. This is too much. I can't take this. And the general idea is they all work together. Understanding this would help us when we put our cups. We've seen the layers of the skin, and we now get to understand how this works. And as we go in, we would look at certain treatment plans that are mind controlled. It might not be hijama, but I would want to go through it as the class progresses, just to let you understand that from your mind, you can control certain things on your patient and how he or she feels. So your mind has to be clean and clear. For that, when we get there, we'll talk about that. But now, please, like I said, do your own X-ray research, read the notes, watch the videos, make your notes, revise. These are things you need to know. Don't get bored with them, learn them. So when there's a problem, if we take fertility, what causes it? There's so many factors. And if you understand how it works, you would know where the problem is and what to do to help with the treatment, what protocol treatment you would use. At the end of the day, we want to be different from the Hajam or the therapist that just knows the points, that doesn't understand how it works. Once you know how it works, you can fix, and you get to that point where, because you know what you're doing, and you find a patient at a location where you don't have hijama cups, but you have drinking glasses, you have teacups, you have coffee cups, you're good to go because you know what to do. You might not do a massage with that, but you know what to do. You might not have lancet needles or razor blades or surgical blades, but because you know what to do, you know what you would use to make those little insertions you need. Could be just part of a thorn plant, 120 plant, even if it was a rose plant. So the idea is know the system, know the body. That's the difficult part. The easy part is just put the cup here, put the cup here, pull, insert. That's the easy part. Anybody can do that, but not everybody knows the body. Not everybody knows what to do if you have a problem. These are all things we'll be looking at as we go further. Inshallah, we will talk about ruqyah. You find from experience, you'd find patients who have gene possession, and it comes up while you're doing your hijama, especially when you use those points that take care of sihr. If you do not know what to do, then you're in trouble. But inshallah, we'll discuss these things, and you would learn, and you, inshallah, learn how to work as a team by the time we're through with this. So I thank you all that have been in class today, and I'm sure the rest will pick it up in the group. Please pay attention. We are looking at a 6 months period to finish this. We're about 1 month in, and inshallah, we will get there. If there's a need, like I said, if there are questions that call for it, we'll have an extra class. If there are questions that really call for it, or things that come up, we might have more than one extra class. We've already had one lecture that was given like that. And the idea is we've targeted 6 months. If there's need be, we might go 6.5 months, even 7 months if need be, but it might not be more than that. But the idea is to be the best we could possibly be that our diploma would be different from every other person's diploma. You find people doing a diploma in hijama in 1 day, some in 2 days. Very rare, not often you find some 3 days. It's very rare you find some that come and tell you they did a hijama in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, like we're doing, or 9 months, as the 9 to 12 months as the advanced diploma would take. The idea is everybody can put in a cup, but not everybody understands why the cup is there. Everybody can take a syringe and give an injection, but not everybody understands why that injection and why that particular type of syringe, why a 2 cl, not a 5 or 10 cl, why a gauge 23 needle and not a gauge 25 needle, and all those things come in. So please go through, make your notes, ask your questions. Inshallah, we would see if we're alive and well on Monday, Bismillah ta'ala. We will continue from where we have stopped today. But please, like I said, if there are any questions, do ask. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. سبحانك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.